Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into it, going back to the very beginning of a pretty unique part of the Star Trek story, Deep Space Nine's first episode, Emissary. We've got the transcript right here, ready to pick apart how this whole thing started. Exactly, and you have to picture the context, right? The galaxy's still dealing with the aftermath of the Cardassians on Bajor years of really brutal occupation, left huge scars.
Yeah, and that's not all. There's also the shadow of Wolf 359, that Borg attack, still fresh in people's minds.
Big time. So it's a tense backdrop for our story.
And the setting for this deep dive, it's not some shiny starship exploring the unknown. It's this old, reclaimed Cardassian mining station, Deep Space Nine.
The Bajorans, their new provisional government, actually invited the Federation, asked them to set up shop there, orbiting Bajor, which, like you said, was just liberated.
It feels really different from the usual Federation setup, doesn't it?
Totally different. And stepping into this whole mess is Commander Benjamin Sisko. He's Starfleet, but he's carrying some heavy personal baggage. Wolf 359 again. He lost his wife there during the Borg attack.
Yeah, and now his job is to take command of this, frankly, rundown station. It's less about charting nebulae and more about stabilization, diplomacy, just holding things together.
Okay. So our mission for this deep dive then, let's figure out what challenges, what mysteries Sisko runs into right off the bat. We'll trace the big moments in Emissary, look for those seeds that grew into the whole DS9 saga.
Sounds good.
So Sisko beams onto this station. What's it actually like? What's the vibe?
Well, the first impression is stark. It's not exactly Starfleet standard. This place has been picked clean, damaged. Chief O'Brien, Miles O'Brien, he got there earlier.
Right. Poor O'Brien. Had to get the first look.
Yeah, and he lays it out for Sisko. Cardassian sabotage everywhere. Security systems are a mess. You immediately know that's going to be tough going.
And it's not just leaky pipes and busted consoles, is it? There's a darker feel, too.
Oh, absolutely. O'Brien tells Sisko about 4 Bajorans who were killed. They tried to stop Cardassians from looting their shops on the way out.
Wow. Right during the withdrawal.
Yeah. It just speaks volumes about the chaos, the bitterness left behind. And adding to that, a lot of the civilian shopkeepers, the ones who made the promenade tick, they're leaving.
Can't blame them, really. It must have been so uncertain.
Exactly. Federation, Bajorans taking over.
Yeah.
Who knows what's next? So this mass exodus, it creates another problem for Sisko. And how do you even start building a community when people are packing up?
And then walking right into this tense situation is Major Kira Nerys. How does she feel about Starfleet showing up?
Kira, her perspective is just crucial. She was a major player in the Bajoran resistance, fought tooth and nail for their freedom. So her nationalism is fierce.
So she's not exactly rolling out the welcome mat for the Federation?
Not at all. Deep skepticism. You get the sense she's wary, maybe even thinks, here we go again, another outsider telling us what to do. Kind of like the Cardassians claimed they were there to help, you know?
That sets up a fascinating dynamic with Sisko right away. They're coming at this from totally different places, aren't they?
Totally. She's the freedom fighter who resisted occupation. He's Starfleet, with orders to guide Bajor towards maybe joining the Federation, but also, you know, respect the Prime Directive, don't interfere too much.
That tension, Bajoran independence versus Federation influence, feels like it's going to be a big deal.
Well, it's central. It runs through the whole series, really.
Okay, so amidst all this political stuff, we also meet the Ferengi, Quark and his nephew, Nog. Where do they fit in as Starfleet arrives?
Yeah, the Ferengi, they add another layer, don't they? Kind of highlights the opportunism, the slightly lawless feel of a station changing hands.
Starts with Nog trying to steal something, right?
Yep, or samples. Just underscores that it's a bit of a free-for-all. Then you meet Quark. Nog's uncle runs the bar, and he's actually planning to leave.
Really? Why?
Well, he's Ferengi. Probably figures the profit opportunities are drying up or changing too much with the Federation there. He's making a pragmatic call.
But Sisko steps in, stops Quark from leaving. That seems unusual.
It is unusual, and it's our first real glimpse of Sisko's command style, I think. He sees Quark, morals and all, as potentially useful.
Useful how?
Sisko basically bets that Quark's desire to keep his bar running, to make profit, will actually help bring life back to the promenade, help build some kind of community, even if it's built around Quark's bar.
It's a very practical, maybe even morally gray decision for Starfleet.
Exactly. It signals right away that this show might not always stick to the usual Starfleet playbook.
Then there's that meeting, Sisko and Captain Picard. Given Wolf 359, that must have been incredibly tense.
Well, the air is thick. You can feel the unspoken stuff. Picard, who is Locutus, the board responsible, well, instrumental in the attack where Sisko lost Jennifer. Now he's giving Sisko his orders.
What are those orders officially?
Picard tasks Sisko with helping Bajor get ready for potential Federation membership, but crucially, while respecting their sovereignty. Standard Starfleet mission, on paper.
But Sisko's not exactly thrilled about being there, is he?
No, definitely not. Professionally, it's a wreck of a station in a volatile area. Personally, he's a single dad. He's got Jake, his son.
Right. He mentions that.
Yeah, he voices his concern. Deep Space Nine is no place to raise a kid.
Yeah.
You feel him longing for something simpler, maybe back on Earth. Makes him very relatable, very human from the start.
Okay, so he takes the assignment reluctantly, but things get really strange when he goes down to Bajor itself. The orbs, Kaiopaka. What's going on there?
This is where DS9 really starts carving out its unique identity. Sisko meets a Bajoran monk, gets his first taste of their deep spirituality. Then he meets Kaiopaka.
She's the big spiritual leader, right?
The spiritual leader, yeah.
Yeah.
Highly revered. They meet in this desecrated monastery. She starts talking about Sisko's paw, his life force, his spirit, and then she drops the bombshell. She tells him he's the emissary of the prophets.
The prophets, not like gods in the sky.
No, not exactly. For Bajorans, the prophets are these non-corporeal beings. They live outside of linear time, inside what the Boreas call the celestial temple.
Wow. Okay, emissary. That sounds important. And it connects to these things called orbs.
Directly. A
Yeah.
walkout shows him one, mentions there are 9 orbs in total, sacred artifacts sent by the prophets. And she's worried. She thinks the Kardashians might be after the celestial temple.
So she wants Sisko to find it first.
But urgently. Find the celestial temple. It suddenly throws this huge, unexpected spiritual quest onto Sisko's plate, way beyond standard Starfleet stuff.
And Sisko gets a very personal taste of what these orbs can do. That vision. Gilgo Beach, his wife Jennifer.
Yeah, that must have floored him. He touches the orb, and bam, he's reliving this incredibly cherished memory of meeting Jennifer. But the twist,
She does recognize him.
she doesn't recognize him. It's deeply unsettling. It hits his grief hard, but it also hints at something deeper, maybe a link between him and these nonlinear prophets. Makes you question his reality, his path.
So while Sisko's reeling from all that, his Starfleet crew starts arriving. Dax and Bashir. What are their first takes on DS9?
They bring very different energies. Lieutenant Jadzia Dax, the science officer, she's a Trill, which is fascinating in itself.
Explain the Trill thing again quickly for anyone who might not remember.
Sure. A Trill is a joined species. There's a humanoid host, Jadzia, and living inside her is a symbiont, Dax, which holds the memories and personalities of, like, centuries of previous hosts.
So Dax has known Sisko before, in a different body.
Exactly. As Curzon Dax. So there's this instant history, this complex dynamic there. And then there's Dr. Julian Bashir.
He seems pretty eager.
Oh yeah, bursting with enthusiasm. He talks about frontier medicine like he's thrilled by the challenge, the remoteness. Maybe a little naive about the actual difficulties and the trauma Bajor's been through.
Just as things are sort of settling or starting to, Gul Dukat shows up, the former Cardassian commander of the station.
Yeah, talk about an unwelcome visitor. His arrival is just dripping with false charm and menace. He talks about the station, his old office with his creepy nostalgia.
And he offers to help.
Right, which everyone knows is just a veiled threat, a way to keep his fingers in the pie. And crucially, he also mentions his interest in the orbs and the celestial temple.
So the Cardassians are definitely still players in this.
Absolutely, their ambitions haven't gone anywhere.
But then the whole game changes. The focus shifts dramatically. The wormhole. How does that massive discovery happen?
It actually starts with Dax doing her science thing. She's digging into the orb data, looking at weird energy readings in the Denorios belt nearby.
Finds a pattern.
Finds patterns, yeah. Connections between orb appearances and these spatial anomalies. So Sisko, Dax, and Kira, they take a runabout, the Rio Grande, kind of off the books, to check it out.
And they find more than an anomaly?
Way more. They stumble into a stable wormhole, a tunnel through space-time leading directly to the Gamma Quadrant, unexplored territory.
That's galaxy changing, right?
Immense. Suddenly, the other side of the galaxy is potentially right next door. Huge implications for science, strategy, everything.
But their first trip through isn't exactly a pleasure cruise. They run into something else.
Yeah. Inside the wormhole, they briefly encounter these non-corporeal life forms, beings that live in the wormhole. And these beings seem to find linear time, the way we experience things, disruptive, chaotic.
Whoa. Okay, so the wormhole isn't just empty space. It's inhabited.
Seems like it. by beings who perceive reality totally differently. It's mind-bending stuff. They get booted out pretty abruptly, and the wormhole seems unstable afterwards, which adds immediate doubt.
And of course, the Cardassians notice this little unauthorized field trip. Things escalate fast.
Very fast. A Cardassian ship, Gul Jassad's, actually follows them through the wormhole.
Yeah.
But then it just disappears. Vanishes.
Yeah. Ominous.
Very. Then 3 more Cardassian warships show up at DS9. They demand the station's surrender. They refuse to even believe a stable wormhole exists.
And Major Kira isn't having any of it.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
After everything Bajor went through. No way she's handing the station over. Even though they're massively outgunned, defenses are shot.
She bluffs.
What does she do? She basically tells the Cardassians that DS9 is armed to the teeth and ready for them. Pure defiance. Buys them a little time.
And O'Brien and Dax have to make that bluff look real somehow. That whole Thoron field thing.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Pure improvisation. They used a Thoron energy field and projected these duranium shadows, basically fake sensor images. Made it look like the station had massive weapons and armor plating it didn't actually have.
Clever trickery. Did it work?
Well, it made the Cardassians hesitate, but they were still suspicious. They fired off a few shots, caused some damage on the promenade, injured a few people. Yeah. Just reminding everyone this is deadly serious.
But just as it looked like a real fight is about to break out, the wormhole does something unexpected.
Right in the middle of the attack, the wormhole snaps back open, right near the station. And out comes the Rio Grande, Cisco, and Dax.
And they brought back a souvenir.
They did indeed. They're towing the disabled Cardassian ship.
Yeah.
Gul Dukat's ship.
Yeah.
Turns out he'd gone through earlier and run into serious trouble on the other side.
Dukat, the one who was just visiting.
The very same. Seeing one of their own ships crippled like that, emerging from the supposed non-existent wormhole, that does it. The other Cardassian warships just turn tail and leave immediately.
Wow. What a turnaround. And Picard comes back after all this.
Yes, the Enterprise returns. Picard congratulates Cisco.
Yeah.
I mean, discovering a stable wormhole, it instantly makes Deep Space Nine one of the most important places in the quadrant.
From Backwater Station to Galactic Gateway.
Exactly. A hub for exploration, trade,
Yeah.
and, probably conflict too now that the door to the Gamma Quadrant is wide open.
So after all of the station falling apart, the politics, the profits, this insane wormhole discovery, what does Cisco decide? Does he still want out?
Despite everything, despite wanting to leave earlier, he sees what's happening. He sees the potential, the importance of this place, maybe even his own role in it all. He tells Picard he's staying. He's taking command.
He accepts the challenge. Accepts the emissary role, maybe.
He accepts the command, definitely. The emissary part. Well, that's a journey that's just beginning for him. But yeah, he commits. It's a huge moment for him and really for the whole quadrant.
Okay, so wrapping up this first deep dive into Emissary, we start with a broken station, deep political wounds, a commander haunted by his past.
Who then gets thrown into Bajoran spirituality, ancient prophecies, and, discovers a stable wormhole to a completely unknown part of the galaxy.
Yeah, just another day at the office. The moments that really jump out are, like you said, the sheer surprise of the wormhole, meeting those bizarre, nonlinear beings.
And how the episode just weaves together Cisco's personal struggle, the political powder keg, and this massive sci-fi discovery. It sets such a unique tone.
It really does. And it leaves us thinking, doesn't it? What does this wormhole actually mean for the future? For the Federation, the Cardassians, everyone?
And what about those beings inside the wormhole? How are they going to react to ships constantly flying through their home? Their whole perception of time is different.
And the biggest question, maybe, what is Benjamin Sisko's real destiny? Is he the emissary? What does that even mean in the long run?
Exactly. These are the questions that DS9 would spend years exploring. We've only just scratched the surface with Emissary here. If you go back and watch it now, knowing what comes next.
You'd probably see even more details, more foreshadowing.
Sure, the journey's really just kicked off.